The Battle of Kliszów took place on July 8, July 9, July 19, 1702 near Klissow, Poland-Lithuania, during the Great Northern War. The numerically superior Polish-Saxon army of August II the Strong, operating from an advantageous defensive position, was defeated by a Swedish army half its size under the command of King Charles XII. Prelude. August the Strong, Elector of Saxony, King of Poland and Grand Duke of Lithuania, had in 1699 planned a threefold attack on the Swedish Empire together with Peter the Great, Tsar of Russia, and Frederick IV of Denmark-Norway. The plan failed when Frederick was forced out of the war in 1700, after the Swedish landing on Humleback. Charles XII of Sweden in the same year, defeated the Russian army in the Battle of Narva. After Narva, Charles XII evicted August the Strong's forces from Swedish Livonia through the Battle of Duna and pursued him into the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. Charles occupied an undefended Warsaw on 14 May 1702 and marched west. At Klissow, south of Kielce, the Swedish and Saxon Polish-Lithuanian armies encamped some 5 miles apart. The camps were separated by a large wood and a swamp, with the Swedes north of the woods. Augustus the Strong's camp was naturally secured by a narrow stretch of swamp to the north and the swampy valley of the Nida River to the west. At 9 a.m., Charles XII moved his army through the woods on the morning of 19 July and at 11 a.m. arrived north of the swampy stretch, securing August's camp. The army consisted of 8,000 infantry, 4,000 cavalry and 4 guns. The bulk of the artillery was stuck in the forest. August's army consisted of 7,500 Saxon infantry, 9,000 Saxon cavalry, 660 Polish infantry, 6,640 Polish cavalry, and 46 guns. Battle. The Swedish right wing was under the command of Carl Gustaf Reinskiöld. The middle first line under Hans Henrik von Leeuwen and the second under Knut Göransson posse. The left wing had Frederick IV. Duke of Holstein-Gottorp first in command and Otto Berling second. The Saxon left wing and centre was under the command of Adam Heinrich von Stein or respective Johann Matthias von der Schulenburg. The right wing was commanded by Jacob Heinrich von Flemming. The Polish cavalry was on the right wing and commanded by Hieronym Augustin Lubomirski. Charles XII's strategy was to rout the Sax-Polish forces in an envelope maneuver and reposition his forces to strengthen his flanks. The Swedes took the initiative at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and launched an assault on Lubomirski's Polish flank. However, the commander of the assault, Frederick IV, Duke of Holstein-Gottorp, was killed early on and the advance halted. The Polish army then launched 2 subsequent counter-attacks but were beaten back by the Swedish infantry, as were a Saxon assault over the marsh under Jacob Heinrich von Flemming. Lubomirski and Flemming then withdrew and thus left the Saxon middle right flank unprotected, which was caught in a Swedish pincer and were slowly crushed. Lubomirski was pursued by Swedish cavalry all the way to the village of Kij. During this time, Swedish right flank under Carl Gustaf Reinskiöld was attacked by Saxon General Adam Heinrich von Stein, who tried to cut off Reinskiöld's connections with the Swedish bulk. A fierce fighting took place between 21 Swedish squadrons of cavalry with about 2,100 men, against 34 Saxon squadrons with no less than 4,250 men. The Swedes, in their usual manner, attacked with cold steel and managed to repel the Saxon attack. Charles XII advanced into the Saxon camp by 4:30 and managed to evict them into the surrounding swamps. He then took control over the Saxon artillery and used it for his own benefit. The Swedes now attempted to encircle the Saxons by taking the crossing of the Nida. General Schulenburg, whose infantry in the centre had scarcely been attacked, now committed himself to a fierce defence of the crossing, allowing the majority of Saxon units to withdraw, and at 5 o'clock the battle was over. During the battle, Charles XII's brother-in-law Frederick IV, Duke of Holstein-Gottorp, was killed by artillery fire. Up to 300 Swedes died with 800 wounded. About 2,000 Saxons and Poles were left on the field, with another 1,700 taken prisoner, of whom 1,100 were not wounded. Consequences: Charles had won the battle, but Schulenburg's actions had saved the Saxon army from destruction. The Swedes had captured the Saxon artillery, war chest and King August's entire baggage, as well as 60 standards and banners. On July 31, Charles and his army marched into Krakow and consolidated control of Poland through 1703. August withdrew with his army to Sandomierz.